Water, and today we will continue our platformer series. So, currently we've made this. So, if you notice that the screen is slightly different, that's because I installed Scratch add-ons. So this is created by creators, and just look up Scratch add-ons online and you can see it. Basically, you can just pick all of these. So there are a whole bunch of add-ons here. Anyways, so what should we do now? So, we've built a basic platformer with all of this. And let's see. So the collisions are working well. And now, if you collide with anything, it could work. So now, first, let's quickly just create a copy of this because we should save it, just in case you make a mistake. So let's call this ep2. And now let's see what we can do. So we can first try making a new scene. Now let's call this scene 1. And let's call this scene 2. So let's first remove this wall on the side and let's add some new stuff. Maybe an arena or something. No, that's a bit too... maybe build that and then that. Yeah, this looks pretty good. So you have to jump through on top and then you have to go here and then here. Yeah, that's pretty good. So anyways, so now, let's actually go to the player sprite and create a new variable. Scene hash. Set scene hash to 1 at the beginning of the game. So now, but it's still doing that because we haven't set up anything with the scene. So when green flag clicked, or actually when I receive a message, change scene, it's quite simple. Just switch costume to join scene with scene hash. So now, if I broadcast this, let's see what happens. So, oh yeah, I have to put no space. Yeah, no space. Now, this should work. So now you're in scene 1. And let's just broadcast change scene at the beginning. So another thing which we should do is try to organize this a bit. First of all, let's completely remove controls. Now, let's create something called Y movement, or rather, set Y, set SY. Run without screen refresh, and set SX. Now, these two things, this will be in set SX, and this will be in set SY. So this will be useful because we'll add new mechanics later on. For example, how are we going to climb this circular slope? That's going to be difficult. So now, let's make it so that way now, what we can do is we can also change this up a bit. Broadcast movement. So now, what we can do is we can do player movement. Now, player movement. So this is just, this is another add-on which I like. So it's the create message. It allows you to create it from there. Another useful add-on is, hold on, so yeah, just use this and you can switch it between it, but yeah, let's just continue anyways. Movement. So this should work exactly as it did, but this should help organize the scripts a bit more. Broadcast a new message, calling it check scene. Now, this is maybe not a good name, but it's good enough for now. Check scene. Another one. You can rename messages. So it's pretty good. Anyway, check scene. And when I receive check scene, if X position is greater than 230, for now let's do something. Say hello for 2 seconds. Now it works. Now, here's another thing. If X position is less than negative 230, say goodbye. So the reason why I wanted to do this, normally what happens is most platformers first implement the proper changing for this, but look. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I was just wondering whether my wall was not thick enough, but hello, yeah. Now, it's quite simple at first. Just change scene by, for now, yeah, change scene by 1. Set X to negative 230, and broadcast change scene. So now, it works, and you can now travel around. If we do the same thing, except change it by negative 1 and set it to 230, then we have a very basic scene switcher. So this is pretty good. And I think that concludes scene switching. So, anyways, we also should probably start working on a new level because we do not want that to happen. Always put a wall at the end and beginning of each of your scenes, so that way you don't travel between them too often. And like you don't travel into the same scene. So I'm running out of ideas, but for this, because I actually have a lot of ideas actually, but most of them require advanced things like, like for example, spikes and lava. But if I make a small place where they're going to put, that should work. So I'm going to put a spike. This won't be the actual spike though. We can also add a bit of color to this level. Actually, let's add some color to all of them. Okay, let's use the go to front layer to make sure that this works. Now over here, we can make this a different color, maybe some blue. Yeah, that. And similarly over here, we can maybe upgrade this level a bit, maybe add some blue and some orange. Yeah, this is pretty good. So yeah, this is pretty good project for the change scene switching. And so we're going to need images now, because in the next tutorial, we're going to explain how to use, like this will actually be a collectible maybe later on, but for now that'll be just it. But like how to use player animations. So let's just create some images. I like to just duplicate instead of create new. So anyways, let's create a stick figure. Head, maybe a bit large. So actually I'll be back to you with this, but anyway, just create whatever you like. So this should be about the same size as the player though, the original square with eyes thing. Now, there is a reason why a square with eyes is so good. In fact, most platformer tutorials start out with a square with eyes because there is a reason for that. And the reason will be discussed in the next tutorial. So put that over there, and so I'm actually just going to design this thing before I leave, so if you want to follow along. Anyways, so. Yeah, I'm not used to the new Scratch hotkeys, which completely destroyed that copy-paste thing. And done. We have a stick figure. Make sure it's centered. That's so. Let's also work on a bit of key things about costume design. A, make it centered. B, Make it so that way it always points right. Because that's where the direction things come in. So let's ungroup this because we're going to have to do some editing. Now let's go here. And sorry, I had to cut the scene. So it's run 1, run 2, and run 3. These are not very good looking and I just created them like that. But anyways, I'm also going to create something called jump up. Up and jump fall. Jump fall. So this will be useful for the jump animations. So jump up will have the hands up. So something is wrong today. Whoa. Yeah, that should be a pointing picture, but there is not going to be any pointing. Fix. It appears that it's an auto shift. Shift. Turn on snapping. I'm not sure what's causing it, but there appears to be something wrong with this. Anyways, what I can do is I can do something with this, and now I can fix this up. It's jumping up, and for the legs, let's put a small bend. So now, jump fall will be the arms are going to be the arms mostly bent down. And I think this is okay. And now I'm also going to create something called crawl because while we're not going to do crouching mechanics anytime soon, we're going to eventually, and I think crawling would be a very useful feature. So again, this is another time when you need to ungroup. Yeah, better. And now. And now we can rotate this head a bit. Yeah, that's better. And this is pretty good. Maybe you can edit a few of the points. And it's okay. There'll also be sneak. So I'm just going to design a few more of these, but for now, that's it. So that does not look like anyone is crouching. Anyways, I think I'll actually call it crouch. Crouch. Now we have to deal with that missing thing. Anyways, what I can do is I can do this and then move the head on. It's better, but I still think a few hand movements might be better. Maybe some extremely bad knees. Yeah, that's better. Even though I might want to extend it a bit. I feel like it's a bit too low. Anyways, there. That's much better. Now, this should also have its own separate hitbox, but we're not discussing hitboxes. So, anyways, this is pretty good for now. I mean, if we add weapons, we're going to have to add animations for that. And maybe also if I think of something else which we have to do, we'll have to add animations to that. Is there any other action which we've missed? Let's see. There's jump, there's idle, there's crouch, there's crawl, there's jump up. Maybe we should actually create a full crawling animation. crawl 1 and crawl 2. This is okay. So like it'll do like that. And jumping up is good. Crouching, we don't have to add an animation yet. Running, yeah. Anything else? Let's see, there's one. Nothing else so far. Maybe a hang animation. Yeah, that's what I was missing. Hang. So hanging is another mechanic which we'll add in very late. But not very good, but it's good enough because we're not going to do it anyways for now. Yeah, for now that's just going to be the hanging. Later we'll upgrade it and let's see. So now you're this very idle guy who's attempting to get around a level that was definitely not made for him. Anyways, we'll fix that in a later tutorial. Actually, the next tutorial, but let's also just tone him down. Yeah, 50 maybe. Yeah, he's better now. So, I'm guessing that's the end of the tutorial. Even though a guy that's as big as a collectible is not that big. Maybe 70? 80 is good, yeah. Anyways, I'm just going to use a set size block to switch it to 80 at the start, and goodbye. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and remember to watch the full playlist if you haven't.